Do you acknowledge the possibility that some people might have understood the intention of your remark?
Oh, there is no question about that.
Do they have your apology for this misunderstanding?
No.
They do not.
No.
Because I'll give you a chance to make your case.
Yes,
uninterrupted when we come back. Jesse Jackson apologized for the comment.
Because he
stood up like a brave man and said, like a real man, and said, I'm sorry for those who are offended. What's wrong with an apology from you?
There is nothing wrong with an apology if I, in fact, had made that statement. But the press...
I heard you say religion on the tape.
Of course I did. And I explained to you what I meant, and I never mentioned jism. Now, if I had made the statement, I would have to apologize. But since I did not make that statement, to every person in the audience and watching this, I don't feel that I owe you an apology for a statement that was made by the press and not by me. I am not too big to apologize. If I offend you, that's not anything to get up and say, I'm sorry.
All right.
That's a human thing to do. And since this is the day of atonement and reconciliation, I think we ought to sit down on this eve of atonement and get it together.
Incidentally, regarding, I don't see, my president has already said, I don't see how we can allow public dollars to fund programs where spite and hate is the core of the message. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't need all this spite and hate. And let me accept your word that it's not true. Well, you're giving the appearance that it's true. Louis Farrakhan preaches hate. Louis Farrakhan is a hateful person who has preached an anti-Semitic message, which is ugly.
George W. Bush is preaching hate every time he stands on the television telling us that Saddam Hussein is a threat. Saddam Hussein didn't cause Enron and World.com. He didn't call the crisis of confidence. He's not responsible for police brutality and mob attacks and hate crimes in America. No, Mr. President, you're preaching hate and you need to stop it. That's what makes me a good American. I use freedom of speech responsibly to correct a government that I feel has gone wrong. All of you should speak up. If not, I'll be glad to speak for you. I'm a Muslim. I don't salute the flag. I stand to attention when the Star-Spangled Banner is played. Why? I respect the flag of a sovereign, independent nation because one day I hope to be that, and I hope for us to be that too. I would never drape the American flag over a toilet or desecrate it. I wouldn't do that. That's me. I really don't care nothing about the Confederate flag, because that represents the good old days of white folk. And when I heard the song Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play, something, all my troubles seem to fly away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. See, people that believe in yesterday ain't doing nothing today. People that live in the past ain't doing nothing in the present. I don't care if white folk want to relive the past. Just don't try to pull that mess on us today, because it'll be wartime. Won't it? Won't it? You got to be able to stand up for what you believe in. Some reverends told me, they said, look, some pressure is coming down, and it's a lot of pressure on the mayor. I said, pressure? I said, what you mean pressure is on the mayor? I said, you mean the mayor can't take no damn pressure? I said, the masses are living under pressure. The people in the street don't know nothing but pressure. Why the hell should I be concerned because the leaders are under some pressure What the hell do you want to be a leader for if you don't want no pressure? So, I say this with no disrespect. Pressure was put on Alderman Streeter. Alderman Streeter stood up. He's loved more today in his ward and among the wards of black people in Chicago than the other aldermen who would not take a stand. You can't be no punk and serve people today. You can't be equivocating. You can't straddle no fence. You can't be on this side today, and when it's warm, jump on that side tomorrow. We ain't playing no damn hopscotch. This is freedom. How in the hell can the city prosper when devils are running it? People who are against the order of God, mischief makers, liars, thieves, and murderers. How can these devils judge me? You can't judge me. I am here to judge you. Judgment is on you today. Yes, sir. You make me laugh. You're gonna censure Farrakhan and repudiate me. Please. As I told the big boys in the United States Senate when they censured me, that didn't work. The paper is printed on. And your censure of me carries no weight whatsoever. My censure of you carries the weight of God and His Christ and the angels behind it. Take it or let it alone. That's why you can't do nothing with me. But get out of my way. Because when I see Bloods and Crips killing each other, when I see the Stones and the Disciples slaughtering each other, when I see Muslims at each other's throat, when I see envy, jealousy, hatred in us, with all the teaching that we have, all the leaders that have come and given their lives for us, but it don't make no damn difference. We have not changed. So God has a whipping for you now. I'm out of it. I've done my job. And now the winds. 7 trumpets. Look at them. Yeah, I feel sorry for some of you. But you know, I realize now what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to me. Teaching will never make this people what God wants them to be. It's not teaching. We need a whipping. Don't take Farrakhan pray for me. Hell no. No, 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 no. Hell no. Don't you ask me to pray for you. What the hell is wrong with your mouth that you can't pray for yourself? You see, brother and sister, you put too much weight on these preachers, making them think they're closer to God than you are. I am not closer to Allah than you. Some of you may be closer to Him than I. You go to your God yourself. You call on Him. He's waiting on you. That's my order to you tonight. You say, but God so loved the world. Stop right there. God has never loved this world, that He sent His only begotten Son. Stop again. How could God love the world and preach the end of the world? Send His prophets into the world. Listen to me good now. And drown the world out with water, and then tell them that as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Then drown and kill homosexuals in Sodom and Gomorrah, and then tell them as it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. He preached the destruction of the world, the end of the world. How could He end what He loved? It's the people of His that are in the world, that are not of the world, that He comes to save out of the world. Remember, song stylists, you're only as good to the record companies as your latest hit. And when you stop making the hits, no matter how well you used to do, You'll see them. No, don't mess with the sound. Don't bother with the sound. I don't think they mess with the sound. It's me. I keep banging away and the mic start falling. I don't want to outstay my welcome. But you all are very special. Johnny Gill, one of the finest voices in the world today. Our brilliant, magnificent brothers and sisters. Poor Michael Jackson. He's become a god. Michael Jackson is one of the finest young men you'll ever find. Michael Jackson is a very deeply spiritual man that most people don't understand. It ain't what you look like on the outside. It's what's going on the inside. You say Michael is strange because he finds joy being with children and with animals. But the reason he's like that is because of wounds inflicted by grown-ups who only see the value of your talent and what they can extract from you and how they can cheat you and rob you and abuse you and misuse you. Michael is tired of the world. Michael would rather be with an animal because whatever the animal is, that's what it is. It ain't deceitful. But human beings are full of deceit. So he asked the question, why you want to trip on me? Whole world going to hell and you talking about me? Why you want to trip on me? I looked at his video. I saw an animal and a human turn right into an animal. You don't know what Michael is saying. Michael don't talk. So you got to learn how to read Michael. Michael is a spiritual genius. I see so much God in that man. And I know that persecution and what he's going through, if it don't destroy him, it'll make him an even greater individual. Some of Michael's family is here, and I want his father and his brother to know that I was in the West Indies, and when this stuff broke, and at a certain point the tears came down my eyes, and I told my son, I said, try and get in touch with Michael. I said, because I hope he's not considering suicide. To get out of a world as low down and rotten as this one is. Michael is a sensitive person. And I just don't believe that they would have handled no other white artist big as Michael like they handled our brother. Michael has become a god. Michael is the quintessential performer. And whether you like Michael or not, there's something to that man that is deeply spiritual that touches the souls of people. And the enemy does not want Michael to ever become political and turn his feelings into words and words into song and songs that will start a cultural revolution. So they want to destroy Michael now, like they want to destroy Stevie and you, my brother. We got a classy sister over here that she's so magnificent. Sister Dionne Warwick. To all of you, Martin Lawrence, to all of our entertainers, help me. I can't do this by myself. One of the greatest rappers that is in the world today, Ice-T, he's right here. He's one of the greatest in the world. Ice Cube, stand up, Cube. Let me say this. These are our giants. They can turn the world around with a rap, with a song. And all I'm saying to you, beloved brothers, yours is a gift that came from God. And you must use your gift for the glory of him who gave you the gift. And you must use your gift to facilitate the rise of a people who are being crushed. Will you do that? Will you help me to do that? If you took a nickel a day, there's about 8 million workers among us at 5 cents a day. Now, 8 million, if you started with 5 cents a day, 7 days a week, that's 35 cents a week. It comes up to about $18.20 a year. Can you afford that?
Yes, sir.
Of course. And imagine millions of us doing something simple like that. Inside of a year, you've got millions of dollars to invest in yourself.
That's the premise that the dollar store was built on. And now it is one of the Fortune 500 traded on the S&P.
We really need to get back to sound economic policy among us. There's nothing that will hinder us if we get our own foot out of our own way. We are free to do business with the world. I have gone all over this earth linking the black struggle in America to the black struggle in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Central South America. People are ready to do business with us if we are ready to do business with them. I didn't like what I saw.
Go ahead.
I was in rebellion against what I saw. And I spoke out against what I saw. I had never been in the South before, but I didn't like what I saw. That's right. In Richmond, Virginia, on my way to North Carolina, the bus had to stop for me to get something to eat. And I couldn't go in the front of the restaurant with the rest of the folk. I had to go around the back where the toilet was. And there was a little half moon thing right next to the toilet. And I got to ask for something to eat. No, I hated what America was doing to us. And I have to tell you straight up, man, I was born to be what I am and how I am today. And 40 members of the media were in the next room waiting for me to blast Reverend Jackson. I never said a word. Do you know why? He hurt me. But hurting me is not more important than helping our people. Why should I use my influence to divide the community that wanted what Jesse was seeking? So I kept my mouth, and everybody around me, we said, we ain't saying nothing. Yes, it was hard. It's always been hard because I got a group of warriors around me. Marcus Garvey disagreed with W.E.B. Du Bois, and E.B. Du Bois differed with Marcus Garvey and Booker T. But hell, man, hey, we didn't kill W.E.B. Du Bois. He died in Africa. Marcus Garvey died in England. Look at that. He came a long way, Mr. Du Bois. And we honor him today. But had we killed him because he disagreed with our patron, we would never have had the scholarship. And that's why we have no right to kill one another, because we're in disagreement. Because today's enemy may be tomorrow's best friend, and today's friend may turn out to be tomorrow's enemy. You don't know who you are until you've been tried. Every time an argument come up, you want to run. Some of you ain't been married 2 years, 3 years, you ready for a divorce. What the hell is wrong with you? If it was easy, everybody would have made it. Marriage is difficult. And if you don't want to struggle, then leave a woman alone. And if you don't want to struggle, leave the man alone. And I must say to you, my beloved brothers and sisters, your and my actions in the streets of Los Angeles or Chicago or New York or Cleveland or St. Louis or any city in America or throughout the world is bearing witness to the lie that we are an inferior people. Your own actions are showing the world or bearing witness to a lie that you are subhuman by nature. So you can't go talking to white people, treat me right. You can't go talking to other people, Koreans, or why don't you all respect us? Come in our neighborhood and take our money, but you don't respect us. It is because you don't respect yourself. So not only have white people inflicted wounds on us, now we are the biggest inflictor of wounds on self and on one another. But let me tell you something, brother. When a man loves a woman and give that woman everything that that woman needs, and then he come home and find her giving herself to another man, I mean, there's something in him. He goes berserk. He killed both of them. Yes. And then want to kill more because he ain't satisfied. I mean, stab her till ain't not, this life is out of her, but cut her up, drag her down the street in pieces. I mean, people just go crazy like that. That's the truth. How do you think God feels? See, the scripture says in the Bible, it calls him a jealous God. Yes. Oh, yes. I brought you up, Israel. When you were in bondage to Pharaoh, I brought you up. Yes. Come on, bro. I made you a power right in the midst of Pharaoh. I delivered you out of the wilderness, out of Egypt into the wilderness, and I delivered you in the wilderness. And yet, when my servant went away, you forgot everything I taught you and went back into the muck and the mire and the mud, you rebellious whore. Yes. I turned my back on you. And when God turned his back on you, it's like turning away the light of his inspiration from you. And you start wandering and becoming lower and filthier and filthier and funkier and more low down. And you begin to see the worst part of yourself manifest because you are a rebel against God.
And he don't have to turn back to you. And out of his mercy and love, he may send someone to turn you back toward him, that he may once again turn back towards you.
In my opinion, I'm not Jewish, but I have had the opportunity, and I say opportunity, to go to a concentration camp, and tears will just flow. I don't care what religion you are. It is so sad, the injustices that were done.
I
This
agree,
can't
I
happen
agree with you,
again.
miss,
Okay.
that human suffering is sad no matter who is suffering. We don't control NBC, ABC, and CBS, so our story, the story of the Black Holocaust, has never really been told. Roots did a fairly decent job of trying to tell our story. But if we told our story, like Jews have been able to tell their story, a brass monkey would shed tears over what blacks have suffered in this country.
I am pleased to welcome you to part two of the Donahue two-part program featuring Minister Louis Farrakhan, who at the end of our last program left an awful lot of unhappy people in our audience. Not necessarily unhappy at anything he said, but unhappy because they had no time at all to say anything. So this is our attempt to give you an opportunity to express yourself and ask Minister Farrakhan to respond. Whom didn't we... Yes, yes.
I would just like to say that I am terrified that even you, someone who's obviously educated, has given up hope completely. Like when you call upon us, you say white folk, you say black people, Jewish people. Why can't we come together? We obviously can come together. We just have to. We just have to find a way to do it.
The desire is good, but the reality is the total opposite of your desire. And unfortunately, as a young lady, you are not in the position of power to make the decisions to make America work. May I, you know, as an audience of intelligent people, I would like to just take a moment to say to you that I really don't think you fully understand what has happened to these people that you look at as second class or inferior citizens in this nation. Black people who were brought to this country were stripped of their names, language, culture, religion, God, and taken totally away from the history of themselves. Here are 30 million people who don't wear their own names, they wear your names. Who don't speak their own language, they speak English, which is not their language. They never were allowed their own cultural expression of Africa. Don't you realize that when you turn a people upside down and inside out, then sell them not for a day, not for a year, but for 300 years, and deny us the human right to know, to read a book, to learn, to understand. And then after 300 years of that, you allow us into the church, but by that time you've painted Jesus white, God white, the angels white, and then all these black people have been subjected to a form of white supremacy, which produces in the reverse a black inferiority. And this is fulfilling what Jesus said, as a man thinketh, so is he. And as long as our people think the way they think, we will never be able to do what we as a people should do to correct our condition.
Over here, please.
But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
May I respond? Yeah. May I respond, please? You know, it's interesting how white folk sit here thinking that I have a reason to lie to you, as though you are so powerful and you are so wonderful that I'm so ashamed of my words that I have to twist and turn. Please, you're not dealing with that kind of man. You're dealing with a man who means what he says and says what he means. Now listen, the young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing, that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people. It becomes apparent more and more as we listen to each other and try to talk to each other that we don't perceive reality the same. And as we're talking about either reconciling differences or separating, it becomes clear that if two people are looking at the same thing and perceiving it so differently, then the two people are operating under a different stimulus. And so when the young lady says, I am prejudiced, to be prejudiced means to judge before the fact. After 400 years of living and experiencing, we're not prejudiced. We are looking at the reality of what we have suffered and continue to suffer.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Are you there, caller?
Yes.
Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry it took us a while to get you, but go ahead. I know you'll be brief.
I'm a white American born into poverty, and I overcame it. You know, the opportunities are here in America, and why can't we just start now? We hear all this violence. Why can't we just talk in a positive way and go forward instead of remembering all these things that are in the past that are negative? They were not good for blacks, not good for white people.
Yes, Mr. Farrakhan commenting.
According to the State of Black America by the Urban League, if we started right now, they said, we could never close the gap to black poverty and white poverty. She said, let us start right now. Let's forget the past. Notice this. When Jewish people remember the Holocaust and want the world to remember the Holocaust. Wait. Why do you want the world to remember? Because if the world does not remember, it is likely to repeat itself. And Jewish persons who suffered from the Holocaust want the world to remember this because the world turned its back while Jews were put in ovens. I, as a black person, want my people to remember what we have suffered and what we continue to suffer, so that we will say like the Jews, never again. Never again.
Okay, I've been listening in this corner right here, and I've heard a whole lot of negative things from the white people here. When you are trying to explain yourself, the white people don't want to hear you explain yourself. They drown you out. They start already trying to drown you out and talk over you. There's a certain amount of white arrogance here, and they don't want to listen to what black people are saying. They don't understand because they don't want to understand. I've heard a woman here say, go back to Africa. Somebody said, we have a black holiday. What does that mean? So what does that mean? He did not say that. He said, if we have a choice, what some of us can go and some of us can stay.
Remember,
but there's no understanding in here. People are just trying to talk.
To those arrogant persons, you know, when you tell us go back, please remember where you came from. And when you want to relegate somebody to a specific place, just remember what your origin is in this world. Please, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I want you to understand that you, wherever you are on the earth, you're not a native anywhere. You came there and took it from the native people who are there. So please don't talk about going back, because if others talk to you about that, where would you go?
Let America be the way it should be. What do you want to separate everyone for? What is the purpose of that? That's not this country. You don't know this country.
First, miss, you said let America be what it should be. Should is the conditional. And the conditions now, ma'am, the conditions are that America is separate. You have 2 million Indians on reservations, Indian women being sterilized. You have 30 million blacks unemployed, unemployable.
Whites and Jews and
look,
all different kinds of people, not just blacks.
Miss, I gotta say this. Miss, Jews have organizations and leaders looking out for their concerns. Whites have organizations and leaders looking out for their concerns. As a black person, I reserve the right to look out for the concerns of my own people. And if we all look out for the concerns of our people and do justice by our people and by one another, then possibly America might be conditionally what you think it ought to be, but I really don't think you got that amount of time.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I can dare say this is the only country on the face of the earth where black, brown, white, polka dotted all have equal opportunity. They can make it.
The lady who raised the point that America is a great land of opportunity, we can't deny that America has given everyone who has come opportunity. But to the blacks who built this, I suggest to you, miss, you are not qualified to speak for us. You are not qualified to speak for us. You are only qualified to represent yourself and your opinion. But really, those of us who have suffered this, we know what we're talking about.
And they don't know how, and if they knew how, they don't have the will or the desire to repair black people. But in our unity, listen to me good now, we can force them to make reparations for what they've done. And Cobra can't do it by herself. NBUF and National Black United Front can't do it by itself. And as long as we are divided, they will not listen. They will not listen to him. They will not listen to me. They will not listen to any of us. They will laugh because you have no power to bring about what you're asking for unless you stop your jackass behavior and become a united people.
Please, brothers, let's stop the killing now. Muslims, please work. Christians, please work to stop the killing. Dear mothers, would you stand and show us your children, please? Take a picture of this, brother, and let's, come on, mothers, hold them high. These are precious young people. Ain't none of them old. Turn to the audience, mothers, and let them see. Turn on this side, mothers, please. We got to stop this, and we let the whole world see those who died to make it better for the mothers who have not yet lost their children. Dear mothers, man, I want to come down off of this. I want to say this to the mothers. Mother, don't grieve. Mother, I'm coming to you. Please, mother. Please, mother. Please, mother, listen.
Tell them to stop.
They're going to stop.
Please stop. It hurts.
I know it hurts. And believe me, mother, I want to tell you something about your children. that have been killed. Mothers, none of these children have died in vain. Now listen to this. Each one of these lives, mother, is precious. And I know you would have wanted, like I want, to see your children live to die of old age. But God took them young. Jesus was taken as a young man in his 30s. We don't know how long we're going to live, but each one of these lives is sacred, and they did not die in vain, because the reason we could sit down at a table the other night and the brothers said enough is enough is because of these that have died. Mother, we intend to stop it.
That's right.
So that there will never be mothers to grieve like you. But remember this child of yours did not die in vain. And when you see the peace come up among the people, you will know that your child made it happen. Now all of you that are in here, feel the pain of these mothers and make up your mind. We'll never let this happen again. Now let's hold each other's hands. Come on, mothers, and hold my hand. Hold the microphone. Come on, mother. Amen. Thank you. I want to shake all your hands. I love you, mother. May God bless you and your family. I love you, my dear sister. May God bless you.
Brothers and sisters, if everybody could please just hold your places while the ministers shake the hands of all of the mothers, if you don't mind, please just would you hold your places. But let's give these mothers and yourselves, come on, give them a round of applause, brother. Let them feel your love, and let us all pledge that we would stop it. How many of us would try to help us to stop the senseless killings? Would you raise your hand? Come on, put a hand up if we're going to stop this.
God bless you.
Your word is your bond.
I love you, mother.
And you'll give your life for your word shall fail you? Well then, let's come together. Let's organize. Let's begin to organize in Los Angeles every Tuesday night at Bethel AME Church on 79th and Western. Come on and let's begin to organize, brother, so we can get in the streets and help to save some of our children so that grieving mothers will never have to grieve. This is how we redeem their pain. How many sisters will get involved with helping and stopping the killing? Would you raise your hand? All the Muslims should raise their hand, or you know we're in trouble. So we got to get out of this trouble by doing this work. Thank you again, brothers and sisters, as the minister continue to shake the hands of the mothers. Thank you all for coming out. Don't forget, on your way out, we have the Stop the Killing magnets. All of us should get these magnets and put them on our cars. Would you hand me those magnets that's up there?
God bless you.
Everybody, we should not support our troops, but let's stop some of this killing. We want everybody on your way out, get a Stop the Killing magnet and put it on your refrigerator, put it on your car, put it on something metal to remind you every day we must stop this senseless killing. Also, for those of you who would like to get a copy of tonight's lecture, it has been high-speed duplicated on both DVD and CD. So you can get a copy, play it to your homies, go to the streets, let everybody hear the message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So on your way out, please get you a copy of tonight's lecture, and please, let's stop the killing. Also on your way out, we ask everyone to sign the petition to fire the policeman who killed Devin Brown. On your way out, sign this petition, brothers and sisters, and support stopping also police brutality. Hold that, brother. Please, so on your way out.
Thank you all. May Allah bless you. I hope that you'll do as I asked, so that we can ward off the chastisement of Allah. Thank you.
When men stand up, boys sit down. The question is, what is a man who stands up? Is it to go down and macho the drug dealer? Heck no, that's not a man. You just another bully bullying somebody else. But a real man provides a job that can take the drug addict and give him something meaningful to do. When men stand up, we don't need the union. When men stand up, we force the union. See, you're just a bunch of beggars because you're weak, because you're divided. But when we come together like men, we don't beg another man to do for us what we can unite and do for ourselves. Let's stand up and let the boys sit down.
Thank you. Thank you.
What about the N-word, using the word?
We use it all the time. We can't just charge the rapper with that. I know great pastors who use that language in their private conversations. So we who are in leadership must take the oath that we will not use that degrading term to apply it to our brothers and sisters. That's how bad the language has changed from the 60s. When we were more conscious of our blackness, we never used the N-word. We called each other brother and sister, even though we may not have treated each other so much like a brother or sister. How are you, brother? How are you, sister?
It's taking the word back, the N-word. We're taking the word back and we're using it the way we want it. We're going to make it a term of endearment.
And you're so stupid to take a word that means your degradation and try to claim that you're using it for some uplifting purpose. If you used it for an uplifting purpose, why is the murder rate so high in the black community? Why are the funeral parlors filled with black men who call each other in? No, 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 no. If you change the language, you change the pattern of a man's thought. So if I call you brother, I soon will want to recognize your flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, bone of my bone. So if I hurt my brother, I'm hurting myself. But if you're in a gang, you don't see the other gang member as your brother. He's not wearing the right color, not showing the right signs, so kill him.
So you're saying, taking back that word, that hogwash.
You know, you can try to put a pretty face on a gargoyle, but it is what it is.
You cannot say never again to God, because when he puts you in an oven, you in one indeed. And your Bible, listen, I'm not making any mockery. Never again don't mean a damn thing when God get ready for you. Your Bible teaches you, behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all that do wicked, yea, the proud, shall be like stubble, and he will cut you off and leave you neither root nor branch. This is prophesied for you, and I'm your last chance. If you fool with me, you're courting with death itself. This is why I will not run from you. I will run to you. I'm not only the last chance for you, I'm the last chance for the government of the United States of America. I want you to hear what I'm saying, America, because you kill everybody that will give you the truth that will correct your wickedness. But if you make a move toward me, which you have already planned to do, you have sat down, Reagan, with your chiefs of staff to figure out the Farrakhan problem. I'm warning you, Mr. Reagan, and I'm warning the government of America. This body you cannot have. You have killed your last black leader when you killed Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. The Jews talk about never again. I'm very sorry. I am your last chance too, Jews. I am your last chance. Listen, Jews. This little black boy is your last chance. Why do I say your last chance? Because the scriptures charge your people with killing the prophets of God. And if you want to show the world that you are better than your fathers, I am not a prophet, but I come in the footsteps of those worthies. And if you rise up to try to kill me, a man that has told you the truth, then Allah promises you that he will bring to bear on this generation the blood of the righteous, not just from Abel to Zechariah, but from Abel all the way to the last man you killed recently. All of you will be killed outright. That is because they don't fear us. They fear white people. What I'm suggesting to black people is that the leaders have to begin to fear the people that they say they represent. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? No, you don't. Because when the leader sells out the people, he should pay a price for that. Don't you think so? Do you think the leader should sell you out? We should make examples of the leaders so that the next one that comes along will respect you enough to do that which pleases the masses of the people.
Striving to be upright. There's the key to your power, brother. You can't accept this knowledge to live a low-down life. If you come here to get the knowledge and you don't want a moral life, a moral existence, a better life for yourself, the knowledge is not going to help you. Because it will remove your fear, but then your fearlessness will make you rob banks, sell drugs, do crazy things, which will end you up either dead or in jail, but you won't be on this path because you took the knowledge, but you rejected the moral thing. You don't want to strive to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth. I come here to serve God. I wasn't playing when I got here. I'm telling you, brother, this is the only way to make it. Don't come here with no other crap in your mind. If you got it in your mind, get it out of your mind. Don't come here with nothing in your heart, but you desire to see your people free and you want God's way. Hey. Don't come here, sister. Wait a minute. Don't come here with no man in your mind. You'll never be successful. Right. I've seen some fine men. That's bait. We look good, but are we? All thing that glitter ain't no gold. So if you come here with getting a man on your mind, you might get the wrong thing and end up in hell. Come here with a thought in mind that this is no playhouse. This ain't no house party 201. And there ain't no kid and play in here. This is for real. You play with this,
you're playing with a hot fire. And it'll burn you. Try it and see. Get your motives right. If they're not right, don't worry about that, but get them right. Because you can't make progress in this with wrong motivation. You're not going to last. That's right. You'll be some of those swift 90-day wonders, and we'll see you back out in the street with a reefer in your mouth because you can't make it with the wrong idea at the root of your coming. That's right. You young sisters and brothers, you can't come here because your mama's here. Because your mama can't get you nowhere in this. It's your own faith that will move you. That's why when you get 13 and 14 years old, you got to make that decision for yourself. You say Martin Luther King died for us. That's crap. He didn't go out on no balcony to die that day. He was going to make a speech and he died. It wasn't his death that made him give his life. He gave his very time and the essence of his being to the struggle of our people. That is his life. That is his death. He wasn't thinking about dying that day, but he knew death was on him. I ain't going out there if I see a bullet, I'll go get this bullet. But if I see the bullet and take the bullet, I die for something. And whenever I was on post, I'm telling you about Farrakhan. Whenever I took a post like this, it wasn't no show in it. I took this post to die. I don't like no showmanship. Don't stand around me trying to look good, because that ain't Farrakhan. You can take it or let it alone. When I stood post for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I stood post to die. When I stood post for Malcolm X, I stood post to die. And when I see that the life of the man that I'm guarding, I feel is more valuable than my life, then it is an honor to give my life to preserve the life of one that's more valuable in my sight. That is sacrificing your life when you knowingly do it. Not go and run off the curb, fall asleep and run into a tree. He died for us. Yeah, but not his death. Martin King died for us from the time that Rosa Parks stood up and said, I'm not going to allow you to put me in the back of the bus. And Martin Luther King came to that cause. That's when Martin started giving up Martin for a bigger cause. And that's why his name is remembered, because he sacrificed for something bigger than himself. And that's why he said, if a man don't have nothing to die for or to live for, he don't have anything to die for.
You don't give a damn no more how low down you are, how funky you have become, how rotten you look in the eyes of the world. You don't give a damn no more. You have lost your sense of shame. So you're no longer human beings. You've become a race of animals. I'm your brother, damn it. And I love you. But I'll be damned if I'm going to stand by and watch you destroy yourself and our people and our future with your foolishness. The Bloods and the Crips and the gangster the disciples and the arrogants and the vice lords. Soon they will become the army of God and the army of righteousness. And we're going to put a stop to your foolishness. You're not going to misrepresent us to the world for a damn dollar from your enemy. We're not going to allow that to happen anymore. We'll snatch your behind off the stage and whip your ass. We're tired of it, and we're not going to take it no more. We got to rise up, black man, and make a clean community and enforce righteousness. We're not going to let slick-talking white men or corrupt black men merchandise our women for filthy purposes. We're going to put a stop to it. I'm warning you now to give you a chance to get your act together. But tomorrow the army will be knocking at your door. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide, because you live in the hood with us. You're being set up. I was 19 years old, but I'm telling you how I lived. Before I met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I was a boy of principle. I was a boy of high character. And I'll tell all of you, you'll never be nothing in life. I don't care how great your gift is. If it's not supported by good character, you ain't worth a damn. A lying, cheating, conniving person ain't worth nothing. That's right. I don't care how great your gift is. You diminish your greatness by your slimy, slutty character. I was in a band, or the leader of my band, and the Jewish nightclub owner knew that my band, which supported me, he didn't feel that they were good enough. So he said, I'll double your salary. I was making $65 a week, way back in the 50s, early 50s. He said, I'll give you $125 a week if you get rid of your band. I said, I came with him. I'll leave with him. Wait a minute. I'm not no whore. So don't shake no damn money in my face thinking you can buy me. That's right. And since I know I'm going to die anyway, don't even threaten me like you're going to kill me. Because you may have to do that, and I might get you before you get me.
When you leave two people alone, why tell them about the law of fornication? That just happened. A higher law kicks in, nature's law. Yes, you said, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not. Very nice of you. But when you say thou shalt not, then you should be in the room. Then you know thou wilt not. Keep the lights on. And if you see the lights go down, move on in. But when you so busy with your mates till you allow your daughters and your sons the freedom to do and the time to play, and your attention is gone in another direction,
than two young people that are experimenting with nature. They don't even have to love each other. They just have to be curious. And since by nature we are born curious, then you leave them to experiment, and the result is pregnancy, then abortion, or a baby is born, but there's no compatibility there with the person who is the father of that child, and the young child has to suffer now through that. But good can come out of that. You don't have to worry about it. Good, God makes good come out of whatever you think is wrong. God will bring good out of it if you have the right attitude toward it. You should never destroy your children because they made a mistake. Embrace them. But they have to learn now the hard way. What am I saying? The law of nature is bigger than a commandment. You do not leave a boy and a girl alone together in any room for any amount of time. When I first became a Muslim, my teacher was Malcolm X, and he said, an egg is hard boiled at 3 minutes. So I took that to mean something. Better keep these males and these females away from each other in any of those uncontrolled circumstances if you want them to come out of this thing right. And if your child makes a mistake, let me just say this. It ain't because they're bad. Your children are not bad. The world is bad. And we are not watching as we should. The God who created the universe is a serious God. And the God who created man gave man a serious purpose. You have been the plaything of the world. Play for me, nigga. Sing for me, nigga. Dance for me, nigga. Dunk for me, nigga. Fight for me, nigga. Run for me, nigga. Stop lying to the people. Those are the lies that religion teaches to make you a slave mentally. God is real. He's not a mystery. He's as real as you sitting there, me standing here, you sitting there. God is real. And if you want to make something happen, all you have to do is envision it, believe in it, and then get others to believe with you and work your vision. And soon the vision will become a reality. God is real. You are real. We can change the reality of our lives if we understand that we are the ones to do it. So the Bible says, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. God sees, he hears, he walks, he talks, he thinks, he acts, he even grieves. Well, what are you reading the Bible for? Because the God that's in the Bible, he's very real. Let me quote some passages for you. Just we got to get this spiritual thing straightened out. Abraham is the father of the righteous. He was in the plains of Mamre, according to the Bible. And 3 men came to Abraham. And Abraham, the scripture says, one of them was who? The Lord. I didn't write it. It's there. Abraham got up. He addressed the Lord. He said, Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, pass not away from me. Sarah, fix some food. The Lord may be hungry. Draw up a chair for the Lord. He may want to sit down. But how could he sit down if he don't have nothing to sit down on? And by the way, how could you be made in his image and after his likeness and you are real and he's a spook?
I see my family on television, my sisters, the queens of the planet. Who are you, sister? I'm busy with problems. What is a bitch, sister? And did your mother make you a bitch, or did the world make you a bitch? Who are you, sister? I'm a whore with an attitude. Did God make you a whore, or did the white man's world make a whore out of you? You're being set up. They put out a movie on you called Colors, and they send it all over the world. They're preparing the world for your slaughter, and there won't be an outcry nowhere because you are the animals of American society. You are the bitches and the whores of American society. You parade your nakedness before the entire world with a string up your behind. What kind of black men are we to allow that to happen to our women, and we put it on the cover of our album? What kind of man are we? They put out a movie recently, Menace to Society. Who's the menace? They show little children in the movie. Take a drink. A mother and a father feeding them a drink. This really happens in our life, but it don't happen in everybody's life. Why does that have to be portrayed before the world? See, you're trying to do good. And some of the writers, some of the movie producers and whatnot, you got a good idea in your mind, but you ain't controlling nothing. That's the problem. Because the bigger guns behind you say, we can use this. See now, you call it Menace 2. If I'm John the Second, there gotta be John the First somewhere. Well, if I'm Menace 2, who's Menace 1? That I learned to be a menace to society from. That's the hidden menace. That's white supremacy. But now they made you a menace to society. And they spread that all over Africa. All in Europe. is a new book out by one of our brothers, one of the Crips. It's called Monster. I hope brother's wife is here, Sister Tamu. Very pleased to see you, my sister. Her husband, a former Crip. He's in prison today. By the help of God, he'll be out in 2 years. He has reformed himself in prison, but he's now telling the world what he did, how he did it, in the days of his ignorance. He's no longer ignorant. He's becoming a wise man. However, the publishers have another aim in mind. So the book is a #1 seller in Europe. What are the white Europeans looking at Monster for? Why is it interesting to them? Because through the eyes of our young brother, they are seeing all black people as monsters. And what do you do with a monster? You get rid of him. I saw Luke Skywalker on television recently. And my brother was talking about how a Japanese girl performed oral sex on him on the stage. This is what we pay our money for. You can't take your wife to a movie no more. You can't take your daughter to a movie anymore if you want decency. Janet Jackson does not curse. But in poetic justice, she's cussing. What is that saying to those who admire Janet? That it's all right to come out of your mouth with every filthy word that you can because my hero does it, my heroine does it. I say to you, black man and woman, you're selling out and you don't even know it. You turn on your television, black comedian on. Every third word is that MF this and F that and that, so and so this. And, So when an unfair judgment comes down and you go to burning and you take your little pop guns with your false sense of invincibility and you roll out, then white folks gonna roll in. And since you love blood, they're gonna make you shed your own blood, and you will drink your own blood. And the Bible says you will be drunk with your own blood as though you were drinking sweet wine. These aren't the days of wine and roses. Killing us. There ain't gonna be no outcry because they're getting rid of monsters. They're getting rid of Bloods and Crips. They're getting rid of bitches with attitudes, or bitches with problems and hoes with attitudes. They're getting rid of dope pushers, dope sellers. They put you on TV the other day in an Asian jewelry store, pistol whipping an Asian woman, pushed them down behind the counter, robbed the jewelry store, then as you were going out the door, reach over and shot them down. They put you all over the world as an animal, setting you up for the slaughter. They put you on HBO, armed with guns, letting the world know you're dangerous, so when they hear, there won't be no outcry. You're being set up, and you're falling into the trap. Whether you like what I'm saying or not, I ain't trying to win no damn popularity contest with you. I'm telling you, for your own good. This is like a final warning. I may not come back to LA again. I don't know how long God will allow me to sound a final call, because whenever there's a plane to catch or a train to catch or a bus to catch, when they say final call, it ain't forever. Now let's wrap this up. I want to say this, even if you are stung by what I said, or even angry, go home and in the quiet of your room, think about it. Because each one of us can do better. I want to put pressure on Paramount, pressure on Columbia Pictures, pressure on agents, pressure on managers, pressure. And if your stuff won't sell no more, and maybe you'll understand, like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan quit at the height of his career, and he quit with these words. He said, I wanted to stop while I was at the pinnacle, rather than wait till my skills declined and I could feel a foot at my back. Because you that are sports figures and great sports figures, your only time span is the length of your skill. You're nothing but a piece of meat that looks good today, but what do you look like tomorrow when your skills decline? And finally, after 3 years nearly of floundering, I decided I was going to rebuild my father's work. There was no money. There were no followers. There was nothing. Now, who did I depend on? If there were no followers, no money, to even mention Elijah Muhammad's name among those who formerly followed him would mean anger, hatred, even somebody trying to kill you. I had to make a decision
on what was right and then die on that decision. Live by that decision. And you are worth nothing in this life if you cannot make a decision and stand on that decision, even if you die, as long as that decision is right.
Do you support Time Warner's divorce from, separation from their unit that produced rap music offensive to many, many people?
Well, they're a little slow. They made a lot of money from it. But you know, I want to say this in closing, that gangster rap is really a mirror of American society. They are young people being gangsters, playing gangster. But the real gangsters are in the White House with suits on that destabilize governments, murder leaders, gangsters in the State House, gangsters in City Hall, gangsters in corporate America. Only these young people are bringing it all out in the open. So before you curse the fruit, check the tree that produced it.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
This is the day of the end of filth and indecency and the destruction of us as a people. And I'm saying to all our artists, you are the vanguard of social change in America. One song from an artist can do more than a host of sermons by any preacher, probably with the exception of myself. Because I ain't no ordinary preacher with an ordinary message. I'm an extraordinary preacher with an extraordinary message filled with the Spirit of God to transform human life. I'm almost finished. I love you, and I will give my life for you. To me, you are the most beautiful people on the earth. I see so much good in you, so much God in you, but you just need to be healed. Go ahead. Great day. Stevie Wonder brought more joy into people's hearts with songs in the key of life. When he talked into the problem of human suffering. We need more songs like that. And less songs about your booty and shaking your backside. And I want to freak you out. We got to stop it. And we got to stop it now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tell the damn record company, I'm not gonna be no funky nigga for you no more. Tell them. And if they ask you where you get that from, say, my conscience is bothering me. God has stirred a fire down in my soul, and since God gave me my gift, I will not pervert my gift and corrupt my people with my gift. I want you to clean up your raps. Clean it up. Because each one is playing into an overall picture to show the black people in America as subhuman and worthy of destruction. I didn't come here tonight to change your religion. If you're a Christian and you're happy, that's fine with me.
If you're a Hebrew and you're happy, that's fine with me. Yes, sir. If you're Muslim and you're happy, that's fine with me. Yes, sir. If you don't have no religion and don't want one, that's fine with me. Yes, but as black men, we have to change our behavior and become real men. Some of my Muslim brothers from the East offered me millions of dollars not to raise up Elijah Muhammad's name. If I were after money, I would have took their money and gone and got quiet. But I'm not after money, I'm after you. I know if you rise, the future is great for all of our people. But if you remain as you are, we are all sentenced to death. The government on me. Right now, they're preparing to destroy Farrakhan in the Nation of Islam. Right now, they want Farrakhan not alive. They want to use my brother Khaled's words against me and divide the house as they did in 1964. These same enemies are so terrified that over 10,000 black men stood up and thousands had to be turned away tonight. They're terrified. We gotta stop that nigger, they say. We gonna kill that nigger, they say. Oh, but America, I warn you. Dear brothers, while I appreciate you calling my name, Farrakhan is born to die, but Allah is the ever-living. And therefore it would be more appropriate if you said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's the crowd. They want to use some of our brothers. And some of our brothers are willing to be used to curry favor with them against the rise of our people. But I'm saying this to you to say this. I'm not trembling. I'm not afraid. I know, and I want you to know, that I could never have done this without Allah's divine help and intervention. Farrakhan can't do this kind of work. This is the work of Allah, and you must recognize Allah's hand when you see it. So it is not me that the government is fighting, they are fighting God. And they sit back laughing at us as we bringing our homies to their final resting place. We are at war, brothers and sisters. This is no joke. And if we don't clean this crap up now, it will fulfill what's in the Bible. You will see blood up to the horse's bridle. And the book says, those of you who love the shedding of blood, he's going to give you your own blood to drink, and you'll be drunk with your own blood as with sweet wine. You playing with a God that want to save you. And you are angering him. So if you anger him, he'll turn this bastard loose on you. And that's why I'm here, man. It ain't about no damn television. That's right. It's about saving your life, because you are going to die in a few days if you don't get this damn thing together. I've said it all. And I have warned you. And I have nothing more to say. You got something to do. Get up off your ass and get it done. We as parents are the ones to set the moral scope in our families, so that when the children instinctively rise against each other, we become judges, we become mediators, we become reconcilers of the differences between our children, so that we learn the proper behavior as a human being. Now, when you look at the society today, everything is topsy-turvy. It's not the way God intended. A man is supposed to look after a woman, not a woman look after a man. And when you take a woman out of her place, listen to me good now. When you take a woman out of her place by giving her more money in the job market than the male, he feels less than a man. She's more intelligent than he is, because she's going to school, he's on the corner. So when they marry out of a feeling of the need hormonally for interaction, and it becomes a lust and sexual thing rather than real love. So all of a sudden you're married to something that is not adequate. So you as a woman, you find his inadequacy, you press the button. He knows by nature he is in authority, but he doesn't know how to exercise authority. He has not the wisdom of how to exercise authority, so he uses his fists. And the children are watching drama. You see, it goes all the way back to God and family. And the problem is we are ill-equipped to really teach and train our children into the proper moral conduct in the interrelationship. And just as Sister said, we have to be examples of that kind of behavior. It's not do as I say, do as you see me do. Then that puts the burden right back on us. And the problem is ignorance in us as adults. Ignorance, yes, in the leadership. Ignorance in the preachers. Ignorance in the teachers. Because we're teaching something that we're not living. And that's the problem. Hypocrisy in the top of the ladder. How in the world can the children be better if we are not better? We look at them for cussing, but we cuss. Huh? Talk to me. I don't want to go no further. Go ahead.
Thank you, Minister Farrakhan.
I am just appalled that those of us who are pastors and preachers and teachers
don't see how the God himself has offered us solutions to all these problems if we would but read what we have on our shelves gathering dust and begin to practice it. I'm going to give you a simple example. The Bible says in the book of John, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And that Word, through that Word, all things were created. And then it says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among men. There are many interpretations of that. But let's go to violence and domestic violence and the power of a word to kill. We're looking at guns. We're looking at knives. But we overlook speech and the power of a word to destroy the spirit of love, the power of a word to suggest to a mind that it is less, the power of a word. That's violence at the most intimate level. We are not careful how we talk to one another. And that kind of domestic talking to your children, telling them how stupid they are, they'll never amount to nothing. You act just like you're no good father. See, you keep putting those words into the mind, and the mind is eating them, digesting them, and it is forming a person after a word. So when the word becomes flesh, and the flesh is in your house, dwelling with you, ugly acting, bad acting, violent acting, you think that you had nothing to do with this. But sometimes we have to go right back and look at ourselves. Dear family, listen. The Bible is true. My people are destroyed not because they're black or poor. They're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And I would respectfully say to those in domestic violence, see, all that we're talking about is our lack of understanding of God's purpose for a male and a female. And if we don't know what our purpose is as a woman, or our purpose is as a man, and how these two entities, male and female, were created by God to interact with each other to bring about peace and joy. You didn't hear me. But if the woman doesn't know her role, and the man doesn't know his role, nature gives it to you, not a book. You can't go pick this up in a book. I mean, we can put it in a book, but it's coming right out of yourself. There's something that every woman expects from a man. And that's why most of you as women are so dissatisfied in your relationships, because you are not getting from us what your nature demands. You are not an adulterous woman by nature. You commit adultery because the man is not acting. He's not fulfilling in your life what it is that you need, and you're looking somewhere else. The beginning of domestic as a man. Who are you? What is your role as a man? Not your role as a sex partner, your role as a man. What is that role? And if you and I don't know how to be what God created us to be, this woman will always have us before her and feel, oh my God,
I've got to sentence this man to death. I've got to sentence this woman to something, because you don't know how to relate. This is not being taught in churches as it should. It's not being acted on. This is why, if I say, and I'm being very personal here, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he taught me who I was as a man, wow, that blew my mind. That as a man made in the image of God, I'm supposed to be a producer. That's right. That's right. I'm supposed to be one that provides not only material things for my wife and my children, but emotional security, mental security. How I use my mouth is very important in a relationship. When you call your wife a bee, what are you saying? What kind of mind do you have? And what kind of mind do you have as a woman to refer to yourself as that and refer to another woman as that? This is mental violence. See, our problem is ignorance. And that's why the scripture says, how can they know except they have a teacher? And how can they have a teacher except he be sent? The enemy that put you in this condition is not going to give you a teacher to get you out of it. It is God who has to send you a teacher. And when God intervenes and sends you a teacher, you got to have the eyes, the ears, the heart, the mind to receive that teacher. And all of this will vanish as it came.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The few points that I want to make is based on what I heard. My sister with the union, she wants to be at the right table at the right time to talk about the right issues where workers are concerned. Everyone at this table, my dear sister, talked about policy and community. Reverend Lowry and Reverend Sharpton brilliantly defined for us really the crux of the matter. Here's what I see. Respectfully, Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. But power won't even concede to a demand if the demand is coming from a weak constituency that looks like they've lost their testicular fortitude. Careful now. Careful. I'm a Baptist preacher too. But listen, family, listen. The generational gap is serious. But it's written of in Scripture. When Moses gathered the people in the wilderness, he spied the promised land. But there were some giants in the promised land. And the people were asked, go in, we're with you. They said, wait a minute, God. We would go, but the giants are there. They had no faith that they could take the land from the giants. So what did God say? Okay, you wander in the wilderness till you die out. And I will take your children and they will inhabit the promised land. Martin Luther King said, I've been to the mountaintop. I have seen the promised land. I may not get there with you,
But we as a people will get there when we separate from a pharaohic idea of mental slavery. Our children, listen, our children cannot eat at the table of illusion and hypocrisy. Most of us who have access, who have wealth, who have quote unquote positions, we are like mannequins in the shopping mall of democracy. When you go to the shopping mall, you see the mannequin. The mannequin is dressed in what you would like to buy. The mannequin can't talk. The mannequin can't walk. We got black people in power, but they don't have powers. We got black people with money. We have black people with money that we think are giants, but in the company of their white counterparts, they are midgets. Now, if we want to get where we want to go, we can't focus on the house that has rejected us and our fathers for 400 years. We have to now focus on ourselves. Now follow this. The one thing we have never tried. We've kneeled in, crawled in, prayed in, lied in, slept in, but still we are out. If you want to get what you want, we gotta start with a contract with us. A contract, a covenant with us. We in leadership make a covenant with your people that you will never sell them out. We as leaders, listen. We as leaders, so-called, must make a covenant with our people that nothing is more important than the salvation of a people who are now on a death march. While we're singing and dancing and popping our finger and shaking our backside to the world, we are on a death march into ovens, but not the same oven called Auschwitz. But it is a destruction coming to our people through bad health care, no health insurance, HIV, AIDS, drive-by shootings, gang conflict, crack cocaine. We are now become the enemy of ourselves. So we have to make a covenant. And in closing, in my conclusion, oh yes, I'm a Baptist preacher now. In my conclusion, in the 37th chapter of Ezekiel, there was some dry bones that were in a valley. And the bones were talking to one another. They were having a conversation about a contract. And as they were having this contract, some of the bones said, our hope is lost. Our bones are dried. We are cut off from our pot. There's some that are watching by television and some in this audience that think that we will never come together, that we will never make the right covenant or contract. I say to you, go back and read your scripture. Because when the Son of Man was set down in that valley that was full of bones, he spoke to those bones and the bones shook and the bones rattled. But they never stood up. So he went back to his sender and he said, Lord, I have spoken to the bones. And nobody has spoken to the bones like black leaders and black preachers. Nobody speaks to the bones like a Reverend Jackson or a T.D. Jakes or Bishop Long or Bishop Patterson or Cornel West. And those of us that preach, Reverend Sharpton, the bones always listen. The bones shake. The bones rattle. But they never get up. And they never do what they're supposed to do. So one generation dies and another generation is born, and we continue to run the same game. So the Son of Man went back to his sin and said, I've been talking. The bones been shaken, but there's still no life in them. He said, well, don't talk to the bones no more. Prophesy to the winds and let the winds blow on these bones. See, Bush is a wind. Your rejection at the table is a wind. My brother's going to dinner in the White House and can't come away with what is in the best interest of all our people. Jesse running twice, but still couldn't come away with what our people need. All of this is a farce. If we don't make up our minds today to make this contract, this covenant today, not with us and the Democratic Party, to hell with the Democrats and to hell with the Republicans. If they want our vote, let's come as a unified body. Let's gather, Tavis, the scholars. We got them in theology to plan the moral and spiritual development of a people. Bishop Long is not the pastor of this church alone. T.D. Jakes is not the pastor of his church alone. Reverend Jackson and Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Lowry are not the pastors of their constituencies alone. These are the shepherds of an entire people. So what we shepherds, listen, what we shepherds have got to do is come in a room to hell with the camera. Turn the camera off, put the Bible on the table. That book will transform human life if you teach it right. Stop entertaining your people with religion and start teaching your people, and they will respond and they will be a better people. Listen. Let's gather our educators and sit in a room and plan the educational development of our people beyond the contrived education of the Western educational system. Dewey and Kant, who are the philosophers of Western education, were racist at the core. They deny you equal education because if you ever get equal education, they can't rule you anymore. They are not going to give it to you. You got to be willing to give it to yourself. Cornel West and Naim Akbar and all our great educators, we didn't get what is making us through what we read in no school book. We got it from extracurricular activities, from teachers that gave us a bibliography that they don't recognize. We got to do the same for our people. We got to gather our health professionals. Sister talked about education. Well, tell me this. You going to depend on the undependable to educate us about health issues when keeping us and the American people sick benefits the pharmaceutical industry? Come on now.
You are sick and you're dying. Even though you're learning better how to eat, your mouth is in the kitchen of your former slave masters. How then can you be free going to the supermarket and you didn't produce nothing that's on the shelf? If we don't farm, which is the engine of any national life, farming. You ran away from the South, running from farms. Now the enemy got the farms and we got nothing, so we're dependent on somebody else to feed us, clothe us, and shelter us. That's why we're in a terrible health condition. Our ignorance is killing us. Our pastors need to be taught. Go back into the scriptures and teach our people how to eat, to live. Our radio stations, our television stations can't pander to the base human instinct where we become listeners to a degenerate culture pervade on radio and television and records. Jesus said, as a man thinketh, so is he. Well, as a man feeds your mind, you can't be no more than what you eat mentally. So if we allow BET not to be the purveyor of health to our people, rather than just music and dance and funk, you have to understand we're being destroyed, not because we're black, we're being destroyed because we're ignorant. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. All of us can go where we want to go. But Tavis, I'm with you to make a covenant. Not with them, but a covenant with us. And if we gather the scholars and put them in a room, let's come up with a 10-year spiritual plan, a 10-year moral development plan, a 10-year educational plan, a 10-year economic plan to gather that $750 billion and put it to use to evolve and develop us. It's all in our hands. That's what he meant when he said God ain't gonna give you no more, because God has given you everything you need, but you're not using what you got. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry.
I sort of feel I sort of feel like the I sort of feel like the Disney character, and I really want to just say that's all, folks.
I, like you, am very proud that a black man sits in the White House. But I also understand very clearly, and we should understand, that it is the White House. And until we exercise power to force that house to address our agenda. Now remember, our dear sister Julianne Malvo mentioned A. Philip Randolph. Man, that was long time ago. And the cry was jobs and justice. In the March on Washington in 1963, the cry was jobs and justice. In the 20-year anniversary of the March on Washington, the cry was jobs and justice.
We are now in 2010. And what is the cry? Jobs and justice. Well, wait a minute. How long are you going to sit around begging white people to do for us what we have the power to do for ourselves?
Here's what we got to do. We got aldermen, we got preachers, and we got business leaders. But when you are a colony, your preachers, for the most part, are controlled from downtown. Not all of them. But since most preachers like to be favorite sons of whoever the mayor is, if the mayor gives them a token, then they do the token business of the mayor. The politicians, we send them there to work for us, but we turn our backs on them. We do not support them, so they get corralled by smart, crooked deceivers, and they sell out their power to those who can give them a little more money than what they get as a so-called salary. I was in Benton Harbor with my brother mayor, Brother Marcus Muhammad. He's the mayor. Now check this out. He's the mayor of a city, but he's not allowed to get money from city revenue. They get a little stipend. And a man is a mayor and has to support a family on a stipend by going to meetings, and you get maybe $35 or $50 a meeting or whatever the cost is. And this is in black and white written. So no wonder the mayors can be so easily corrupted. No wonder the city councilmen can be so easily corrupted, because they are not paid a living wage in some of these cities. We've got to free our people up. And the only way we can do that is the unity of us in the street, putting pressure on our preachers, putting pressure on our business people, putting pressure on our politicians. Either you work for us or we have to sit you down. You can't put your hand in our hand and then other hand and feet in the pocket of your enemy. So this is our job now. Don't tell me we don't have money. That's crap. Excuse my expression. Crap.
It is what it is. You gotta call it like it is.
Now look at this.
Bull crap at that.
Right.
Thank you, sir. $1.1 trillion comes through black hands.
That's right.
This year. So don't say we don't have money. We don't have unity. Right. And if we had unity and pooled our money, then we could begin to take control of where we live. If we don't have money, why are the Arabs here? If we don't have money, why are the Koreans here? Right. If we don't have money, why is every immigrant that comes to America find their way into the black community to build their empire, their American dream on the black nightmare? So we have got to change that reality. Now, we had a black bank here, Seaway.
Sold.
Seaway gone.
Yep.
Independence Bank gone.
Gone.
Now, ask the Koreans. You know, I know we like hair and we like nails and we...
Okay. Wait a minute now.
Now, wait a minute.
Let's don't talk about hair. No.
I got to talk
Let's
about
don't get
hair.
rid of the hair.
Because I know you love your hair. And the Koreans know it too.
Yeah, they do.
So you go and spend $400 and $500 for a weave. And the Korean brother will not put
any of that money in a Seaway bank.
Nope.
In a black bank. The Arab stores all over the black community. And they're doing everything, selling drug paraphernalia. And I hear some of them have guns that they give to our young people. And they take advantage of our women. Now, don't tell me you my Muslim brother and say assalamu alaikum to me. You making my job harder than hell by the way you are treating my people.
And you talk so much about the financial part, and this is what I talk about every week on the show, not just economics, but group economics. Because we have to take a look at our community, and I always say that I was always curious about that. You know, to walk out of my house and walk to 95th and Jeffrey and to see a beauty supply owned by Asian, or see a liquor store owned by Arab, or see a business owned by a European person in our community. And what I saw was that at the end of the day, before they got ready to leave, first of all, they've disrespected our women all day long. Our youth can only walk into the store 2 at a time because they call them thieves. And then we have people that raise down the black gates in front of their stores, look both ways, get in their car, and take their money back to their community, and we'll never see that dollar again. And what I'm trying to teach us in our community is that we have to let this dollar circulate in our community. Our Jewish community circulates that dollar over 20 times. Asian community, 18 times. Latin community and European communities do that as well. You know how many times the dollar circulates in the black community? It's 0. We're 100% consumption, 0% production, and that's a problem for us. And my key saying that I always say is, I don't want to see another man riding around in a Land Cruiser and don't have land to cruise on.
Come on.
That's a problem to me. Group economics, how can we make that work?
Well, I think you gave the answer. Pooling your resources, that's number one. But if we don't trust each other and don't have love for each other, it'll be very difficult for somebody to take $1 from their pocket, pool it with $1 from your pocket, and everybody in this room put $1 up, and then we start doing business, owning land, creating food and agribusiness. All these empty lots in our community should be turned into gardens where we grow our own food, because the food that we're eating is designed to us. So we know how to farm. We know how to put good seed in good earth and turn bad earth into good earth, so we can eat the food that will give us longer, more productive life. And so we have studied, and it's out there. You know, a carrot today is not the same as a carrot 50 years ago. When I was a young boy, I was a little longer than 50 years ago, but when I was a young boy, we never had health food stores. Our health food store was the market, the supermarket, where fresh food was brought from outside the city into the city. It didn't come from California to Boston or from Florida to Boston. We were growing food on the outskirts of the city, so the food came in fresh. And so we had more life in that food. Today, they're gassing fruits, taking them off the tree before they're ripe, and then ripening them with gas and coloring them to make them look so pretty in the supermarket, but you're ingesting death. My dear brothers and sisters, look,
I was coming out of Mexico, and there was an English language newspaper, and it was talking about the alligators in the Everglades in Florida. And there was so much estrogen in the water till the male organ of the male alligator was getting smaller and smaller, and the sperm count was getting less and less. The same thing is happening today with us. The sperm count in the black male and white male going down, down, down. The penis shrinking. And when you see these things happening, these are chemical reactions. So the pharmaceutical company now comes out with a pill. Hey, it can grow longer. It can get stronger. Take this pill. And if you take these pills, be careful now, because you may develop breasts. Now look, this is some serious business with a pill. Then they tell you, listen to the commercials on television. They say, now be careful of this one. The side effects are you might want to commit suicide because it affects the way you think. Everything is chemistry. So if you got the right chemistry, then your body, which is chemical, this body has everything in it that's in the earth. And if you know the right amount of this and that, every organ in your body can be healed through nutrition, not pills.
It's easy to get the pills. They sell them right in the neighborhood gas stations. Less than $3 to go ahead and tell you that just to make you stronger and bigger and stuff like that. So you even have little teenagers grabbing these pills, putting them into their systems, you know, and they don't even have a chance as they get older as an adult, you know, before they're affected by it.
So you can see, Brother B. Cole, that there's a genocidal plan to take us out little by little. And it's up to men like Brother Darrell and yourself and Tamara and the conscious people in this studio complex to educate our people. Because without our knowledge making a change in our behavior, the foods we eat, the way we cook the food, you're going to end up with all kind of cancers as we are today. We lead in every cancer disease: breast cancer, lung cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, brain cancer, pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, kidney cancer. We are dying because of the way we eat, and we have subjected ourselves to the merchants of death.
The minister, your teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, wrote a book, How to Eat to Live. He also designed an economic blueprint for black people years ago. We have somehow gotten away from that. Not the nation, but the nation has gotten away from that. He had gas stations, farms, fast food with healthy food choices. Are we doing anything to bring that back?
We have to. We have to bring it back. We went back into Georgia and bought some of the 5,000 acres that he had that was sold. We bought it back, and we're farming again. And we've raised almost $2 million in an economic fund. It's nearly $2 million. And We intend to get it up to about 10 million, and we're going back to Mississippi and Alabama to buy some of that good earth and begin farming again. We have to feed, clothe, and shelter ourselves.
He also had an economic plan with just 5 cents. Everybody had a nickel a day. Would you please speak to our listeners about that nickel a day?
We still have it.
We do.
Yeah. That's how we raised the
2 million.
Yeah. Look, if you offered your child, your grandson, 5 cents, what would he say to you?
Scram.
Because what could he buy for 5 cents? That's the point.
Yes.
You got to deal in dollars with your children. Otherwise, they don't respect you. But if you took a nickel a day, there's about 8 million workers among us at 5 cents a day. Now, 8 million, let me see. If you started with 5 cents a day, 7 days a week, that's 35 cents a week. How much is it a month? 4 times that. How much is it a year? It comes up to about $12 to $15 a year.
I think it's 18.
$18.20 a year. Can you afford that?
Yes, sir.
Of course. And imagine millions of us doing something simple like that. Inside of a year, you've got millions of dollars to invest in yourself.
That's the premise that the dollar store was built on. And now it is one of the Fortune 500 traded on the S&P.
We really need to get back to sound economic policy among us. There's nothing that will hinder us if we get our own foot out of our own way.
That's right.
We are free to do business with the world. I have gone all over this earth linking the black struggle in America to the black struggle in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Central South America. People are ready to do business with us if we are ready to do business with them.
And you know, that just brings me to a point now, because we're talking about this economics, and Dr. Clyde Anderson, he talks a lot about
great brother.
Yeah, powernomics. And he was saying that, you know, if we pulled all our resources together here in the United States, African Americans, brothers and sisters, will make up the 9th wealthiest nation in the world if we did that.
With the money that comes in to our community.
And I see it being spent on a daily basis. I can take just a zip code, 60618, 60617, and just look at the parameters from State Street back all the way towards the water, all the way east, and I see that we spend over $16 million in lottery tickets on the hope of coming together as a community, on the hope of putting money in our pocket. But I think we need to do the work on what it is we're going to do with our money when we get it. And that belief that you talked about, Minister Farrakhan, as you spoke right now, I thought about the Million Man March. And I thought about how my mouth dropped to the floor when you taught me group economics in real time. You said, go in your pocket, take out $1. $1. Now pass that forward. It's a million men out here, right? Then we should have $1 million. And I thought about that. I put a frame around that, and I said, whoa, that was just very powerful what happened. He built wealth in a matter of minutes. And I think what's lacking in our community is the love for each other, to put my money in my brother's hand and know that it's secure. Why do we have that blockage right now when you've given us a blueprint for it already?
Because we don't trust. And what happened then, this is the only group that had a group in Washington raised money and had two CPA firms, and we made a public disclosure of every nickel, every dime, and every dollar. Why? Because we want our people to know we're not robbers. We're not thieves. And you know what the enemy did? First of all, when he saw all those dollars go up, so now the enemy said, well, what he did with the money? And when we called a press conference with the CPAs of, I think it's either 2 or 3 firms, laid it out for the world, these white folk wouldn't even print it because they make their trade in keeping us suspicious and doubting the righteousness of each other. And I can't blame us because most of the people that take our money are liars and thieves.
But in this digital age right now, you could track that. Like if we had a ambassador that actually, you could be the ambassador to that 5 cents economic development
I'm probably
program.
the only one they would trust.
Absolutely. And you can, just like you can track your online banking right now, you could track your online giving to this huge economic pool. But you, Minister Farrakhan, have done what absolutely no man in America has done. And that is figure out how to effectively affect foreign policy. You can go in nations and they roll out the red carpet for you. But for some of our, and I put this in quotes, leaders here in America, they won't even open the gate for them. How have you accomplished that?
You know, every one of our people respect courage. Respect a man that is unafraid to speak truth to power. And I said, look, I got so angry. I said, I'll go back to my corner and take the stool and beat the hell out of all of you.
Yes, sir.
You don't talk me down when I'm in a fight.
Absolutely.
If you can't encourage me to fight, then get the hell out the way. Because the fight is on.
The criticism that has led the Justice Department to investigate whether he must now register as a foreign agent.
For me to register as a foreign agent is to give America control over what I say. And that's what America wants, is control over what I say. In the foreign agent law, you can't influence public opinion. That's my business, to influence public opinion, especially when liars are deceiving the American people. So no, I will never register as a foreign agent because I'm not that. And if they can destroy my credibility, as they did Martin Luther King first, take him down in the eyes of his people and then assassinate him. I don't believe that America is beyond that. I believe it's being discussed right now in the White House. I believe it's being discussed by certain members of Congress. How are you going to deal with Farrakhan? Yes, I presented you with a dilemma, but I'm warning America. I'm not Martin Luther King. I'm not Malcolm X. I'm in a little different time frame. And I think you would be wise to see if God is with me. And if God is with me, you would be well to leave me alone.
You go to Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it is, it could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
Oh, now, Mr. Wallace.
It is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine. So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is. Now, here's America, 226 years old. You love democracy, but there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted. 30 years ago, black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet.
and let those of us who know our people go there and help them get out of that condition. But America should keep her mouth shut wherever there's a corrupt regime, as much hell as America has raised on the earth. No, I will not allow America or you, Mr. Wallace, to condemn them as the most corrupt nation on earth when you have spilled the blood of human beings. Has Nigeria dropped an atomic bomb and killed people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Have they killed off millions of Native Americans? How dare you put yourself in that position as a moral judge? I think you should keep quiet, because with that much blood on America's hands, you have no right to speak. I will speak because I don't have that blood on my hand. Yes, there's corruption there. Yes, there's mismanagement of resources. Yes, there is abuse. There's abuse in every nation on earth, including this one. So let's not play holy to moralize on them. Let's help them.
I'm not moralizing. I'm asking a question, and I got an answer.
Why would you put it as the most corrupt regime in the world? That doesn't make sense.
Can you think of one more corrupt?
Yeah, I'm living in one. I'm living in one. Yes, you've done a hell of a thing on this earth, so you should not be the one to talk. You should be quiet when it comes to moral condemnation, in my judgment.